I want to thank you guys for taking the time out this afternoon to come join us for the Wake Works Apprenticeship information session. So I know the first question that you're probably asking is, what is an apprenticeship and what does it mean to be an apprentice? So throughout this session, if you'll just think of an apprenticeship as an opportunity to take what you're learning in a classroom setting, and applying that to your everyday work experience, and then combining that classroom experience and on the job training together to combine and go towards your success. Um, so, again, thank you for joining us. My name is Marasia, and I am the apprenticeship coordinator. Along with me, we have Jean McBride, who is the youth apprenticeship coordinator. We do ask that you add your name and your email to the chat, just so that we have a feel of who's in the room, as well as have a way to contact you afterwards to get any more information to you, reach out just in case you have any follow-up questions, and also send you links, just in case you or whoever you're gaining this information for is interested in starting in the apprenticeship class or program. Next, feel free to ask questions and add those in the chat. We will give you guys the opportunity to ask questions at the end of the session. But if it's just something that you want to make sure that you get in, feel free to add it to the chat and we can either pause and answer at that time or wait until the end to answer. And then lastly, we just ask that you follow us on our Twitter page, at Wake Works. There you can see pictures and little tweets here and there of not just what Wake Works is doing, but also the other programs throughout the college. So just an FYI, and something that I like to do before diving into a presentation is giving you a little bit of information on terms that you'll hear frequently. This way, you might have heard them, but they could mean something completely different to you or to a different program, just so we're all on the same page. So whenever you hear Wake Works, think of the apprenticeship program that is offered through Wake Tech. When you hear the word apprentice, think of a student who is taking Wake Works apprenticeship classes and has been hired by one of our employer partners. And then whenever you hear employer partner, think of the companies that have partnered with us throughout Wake County and offer employment and mentorship to our students.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jean McBride, and I am the Youth Apprenticeship Coordinator for Wake Works. Thank you all for joining us this evening. I will get us into a deep dive regarding Wake Works Apprenticeship, some of the aspects of the program. And again, as Marasia said, if there's something that you have a question about as we maneuver through our presentation, feel free to place those questions in the chat. So, our program offers a great opportunity for students to get paid while they gain a nationally recognized credential. Wake Works offers the opportunity for you to save money because we do have funds to assist with tuition, toolkits for certain career pathways, and many other things. So it's very fiscally responsible decision, I like to tell my students and parents. Um, Earning while you learn is something that we definitely pride ourselves on because we do want our students to gain that valuable work experience as they maneuver through the program. And the added perk to that is that most students who gain employment as an apprentice are paid employees and they are full time benefit job opportunities that they receive. So, earning while you learn is something that we feel sets our program apart from other opportunities that you might see. It also gives you the chance to grow professionally. As you are maneuvering through the program and you're completing your educational component, because you're working as an apprentice, you're able to gain that work experience as well. So once you're done with school and once you have that credential on the education side, you will have years of work experience to match that as well, which definitely um, assists you in being an attractive candidate when you're looking for different roles. And we'll talk a little bit more about what working with one of our employer partner looks like. And we definitely hope for you to stick with that employer. But if your career takes you outside of Wake County, you can take that credential with you and that work experience and assist yourself in getting some employment that is lucrative for you. So that just goes kind of along with the last point here of building a long-term career, because you are able to develop lasting connections with the employers that you're working with your coworkers. Each apprentice is assigned a mentor on the work site, so you are able to show your ability, and that often leads and translates into longer term opportunities for you. So we get this question a lot: what programs are apprenticeable? So as it stands right now, our NCCER program, which is National Center for Construction Education and Research, has four available programs for you to participate as an apprentice. Those are electrical, HVAC, carpentry, and plumbing. These NCCER courses are held at our Beltline Education Center in the evenings. We, in addition to the NCCER courses, there's also certified apartment maintenance technician that's available, EMT, IT generalist, and tower technician. So this earn as you learn that we speak so highly of, it starts with you coming to class at the Beltline Center for NCCER classes, for example. You would begin with our core competency class. And we like to think of this as the beginning level for all students. Um, this class gives you the chance to really go through each of the NCCER career pathways to learn what safety looks like inside of each pathway. Um, and then once you're done with core, you will have a better understanding of each of those pathways. So most of our students come into core knowing which pathway they want to pursue as a career. However, some students who don't have as much experience with the different career pathways need this opportunity in core to identify which one they relate the most to and which one they want to pursue. So core is the beginning, and level 4 is the last level that you would take as far as your educational coursework is concerned. The majority of our students who come to us to participate in the apprenticeship program are able to participate in our hiring events at the beginning of, well, I would say during the middle of their core course. So you get inside of core, you're able to identify what it is that you like, and be certain that you want to pursue that pathway. And at that time, we invite our employer partners out so that you can meet with them and potentially get hired. And once you're hired with an employer partner, you'll have a boss that supports you throughout your academic journey. So our employer partners are also really engaged and knowledgeable about what our apprentices do inside of the class so that they can then work to help translate those skills on the work site and in the work environment. So, earning a nationally recognized credential is also a very important piece of being an apprentice. And upon completion of each level, our apprentices receive various certifications and certificates.
So, when you think of the timeline that you would follow as a student in the Wake Works Apprenticeship program, it will vary depending on which apprenticeship you have decided to kind of go after. So, for sake of conversation, we'll use the NCCER kind of timeline because it is one of our more popular programs. And there are similarities with other careers such as the EMT and IT generalist or a tower tech. So once you have expressed interest in being in our program, you are considered a pre apprentice. So, what this means is that you are ready to gear up in Wake Works Apprenticeships classes and you have not yet been hired on by an employer partner. So during this time, you will begin with the classes that Jean mentioned, such as our core class, or if you do have experience in, for instance, the skills trade, we may give you the option to take a challenge test. And then from there, you could possibly be placed in an upper level class. During this pre apprenticeship time, you're meeting with a career coach. Your career coach will become your best friend in this program. You can reach out to them for assistance with registering for classes, making sure the schedule meets your class schedule, meets your personal schedule. Um, as it becomes time for hiring events, they will work with you to help you prep your resume, practice interviewing, and just make sure you're comfortable with moving forward in the program. So once you begin classes, and then it's time for hiring events, like I said, you'll meet with a career coach. The career coach is going to help you highlight skills that you already have and also remind you of the skills that you're already developing in class. So in our core class, you are getting different certifications already, such as like CPR and first aid, OSHA 10, and other credentials that people in the trades field are looking for in individuals who are just starting out in the trade. So these are things that they're going to help you highlight and emphasize in your resume and also remind you to talk about in your interviews. So hiring events are just an opportunity for you to get in front of our employer partners. So we meet at the belt line. We have different companies come out. They meet up and set up in rooms. They may bring swag from their jobs. And then interviews are conducted. So you learn a little bit about the company and they learn a little bit about you as well. One thing that is great, as Jean mentioned, the employer partners are very knowledgeable of our process and how our program works. So this is an opportunity for you to be in front of employers who are very supportive of the journey that you're on throughout your apprenticeship. Once you've been through the hiring event, it is our hope that you do get a job and that you're offered a position. Moving forward, when you are hired, and if you are offered a job with an employer partner, you would then become a registered apprentice in the Wake Works Apprenticeship Program. So, pre apprentice means you weren't necessarily partnered with a participating or an employer partner. And now that you've been hired on, you are now considered a registered apprentice. So now you're earning on the job training and classroom hours. So you're literally able to take what you're learning in the classroom and apply that to your on the job duties and training that you are receiving. So, what does Wake Works Apprentice or how does Wake Works Apprenticeship work for you? So, some of the benefits as a student are We work to assist with tuition, fees, books, and tools. So, again, speaking from the perspective of someone who is doing a skills trade apprenticeship, um, once you're hired on with an employer partner, we are able to supply you with a starter toolkit. And so anything that you would need on the job, we'll get that toolkit together for you so that you're well equipped for whatever task and duties you are assigned. As far as tuitions, fees, and books, we partner with other teams within the college to make sure that we can find funding that will cover your classes for you. Something that we've already mentioned is a career coach. So, the career coach, again, is like your best friend throughout this program. If you have any questions, you're able to reach out with them. Career coaches will reach out to you throughout the class just to see how class is going. If you're needing any assistance maneuvering your employment or on the job training, again, we offer hiring events that allow you the opportunity to present your skills and your knowledge to companies that we've partnered with throughout Wake County. And then again, the pretty cool thing to me is earning while you learn. So once hired on by an employer partner, you are their employee. So you are earning a paycheck while also in class.
So these are a couple of photos from an event that was held this past spring. What we like to do, in addition to giving students the opportunity to work as apprentices and earn while they learn, is to give students who might not know a lot about the trades pathways an opportunity to experience it prior to enrolling in the program. So this was an event that took place at one of our employer partners work sites. They allowed us to bring some students in who were interested in this pathway but had not really made the decision to commit into the work site and facility so that they could get the experience and see what is actually happening there and if it was something that they could see themselves doing long term. So you'll see some of our students here geared up and working hard. It was a great experience, and I think most of the students that you see pictured have at least completed the application and inquired more about the apprenticeship program. And I'm pictured in the, sorry, that moved a little quick, I apologize, Marasia. I'm pictured in the bottom middle right in the high schools speaking with students about our program. These are a couple of photos that were pulled from hiring events. As Marasia stated, during our hiring events, we bring employer partners to our Beltline Education Center, and they set up, and students have the ability to interview with each employer partner so that they can learn a little bit more about what the work culture is like at each specific place. And so these are some pictures of our students just really engaging and prepped and prepared for those interviews. So, as I stated before, my role with Wake Works is the Youth Apprenticeship Coordinator, and it's my responsibility to bring this information about our apprenticeship program into Wake County Public Schools. So we have created an opportunity for high school juniors and seniors to be able to enroll inside of our NCCER programming prior to high school graduation. So we do offer the NCCER courses at our Beltline Education Center during the week from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And our high school students who maybe have never thought about pursuing a trades pathway have the opportunity to join us on campus and take these college courses with our adult students to learn more. and engage in that curriculum. They also will have the opportunity to interview with our employer partners and begin working up to 15 hours a week while they are still in high school. It is a rigorous opportunity for high school students because not only are they responsible for these evening courses, they are also still responsible for completing their high school coursework that takes place during the day and then working inside of their designated career pathway during the week as well. So I always tell students who and parents who are interested in embarking on this journey in high school to meet with me individually so that we can really discuss what that program would look like for the student and then make the decision as to whether or not we would like to move forward. But what the opportunity does do is it creates a smooth transition from high school into this college coursework, especially for students who know that this is the career pathway that they would like to pursue. We do provide financial assistance for students to take this course with us in the evening. So it is a paid experience for those who desire to register as apprentices. We do have some high school students who desire to take some of our classes and maybe they're not looking to be an apprentice, but maybe they just want the experience of understanding this specific career pathway a little bit more. And we do offer students who are currently in high school the chance to take these classes in that way without registering as an apprentice. However, we don't pay for that class for those students. We're only paying for students who are signing up to be pre apprentices and apprentices with us. So, in addition to students who may be coming to us for the first time with no background coursework or work experience inside of the trades pathways, we do also have students who come to us and transition into our program with previous coursework. So, what we have done is created a chart to help students and their parents to understand if they took these classes inside of high school, how that translates into our program. So, an example of this would be if a student came to us and they have already taken level one, I'm sorry, core and level one inside of high school, then with us, they would start with that level two. And Marasia touched on this briefly earlier, but students who, um, or anyone in general that has the work experience and they have previous coursework, if they would like to test out of certain levels, we do have a challenge test that's available for them to take, and it'll let us know what level they should be placed in based on their previous experience. So I'm sure everyone is wondering, how do I get started? So the first step is to definitely make sure that you have entered in your name and your email inside of the chat. We are planning to follow up with each individual that has listed that contact information for us. We have a interest form, which is the first step to us getting to know a little bit more about each student and their individual situation and what program of interest they would like to enroll in. So that interest form can be sent from us, or it can also be accessed on our website. And the link for that website is the last bulleted point at the bottom of this slide. So you can feel free to get a head start if you would like to complete that interest form. Once your interest form is completed, you will receive a confirmation email that includes next steps and information that you will need to provide to us dependent upon your program that you would like to enroll in. And then once we receive documentation from you, you will then have access to speak with our career coach that Marasia mentioned earlier, who will then do a orientation with you and introduce you to the pathways that you're interested in and make sure that you understand fully what that looks like for you. Um, our youth, if we do have any students who are currently in high school who are interested in enrolling in this program, I will make sure that I follow up with you. I like to have individual meetings with all students and parents prior to sending out the youth application. It is a separate application from the one that is listed on the website. Our youth application requires the signature of your high school career development counselor. So the application looks a little bit different just because it is more of a rigorous um, experience for those who are still currently enrolled in high school. The process looks a little bit different. And again, my name is Jean McBride. I'm the Youth Apprenticeship Coordinator. You can see my email here, jlmcbride1 at waketech.edu. Marasia, who is also on the call. She is the NCCER Apprenticeship Coordinator and can answer those questions for you. She is MD Moss at waketech.edu. In addition, we do have other team members that are available. So if you have more questions regarding a program that's considered a degreed apprenticeship program, such as automotive, we do have a point of contact that can speak with you more about the requirements for those different programs. And I think we have a question from Monica, which reads, if you pre-registered for this session, we will use the email you submitted. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Monica. That actually wasn't a question. It was a statement in the chat. For those that have pre-registered for this actual session, we will be using the email that you registered with for follow-up. Thank you, Monica.
Do we have any other questions pertaining to the Wake Works Apprenticeship Program? All righty. Well, before we go, we do want to let you guys know about, let's see. Can you explain more about the IT generalist? So, our IT generalist program is currently being offered as a pre-apprenticeship program. And once you um, submit your interest form. You will meet with a career coach. The career coach will let you know about the classes that are required for that pre apprenticeship and will also talk to you about some employment opportunities that we have. If your email is in the chat or it's the same email that you pre-registered with, we'll make sure to send you specific information pertaining to the IT generalist program. Does anyone else have any other questions? For the apprenticeship, would it be in person, on the job, or virtual? So the apprenticeship program, depending on which career pathway you choose. For instance, if we're talking about the skills trades, some of the classroom time is offered virtual, but there is also lab hands-on classroom time that is a requirement for your class. So those classes are typically offered 2 days a week. So you may meet in the lab on Monday, but have to meet virtually on Wednesday. And then, of course, on the job, once you're hired with an employer partner, you are their employee. So, whatever schedule is assigned to you or whatever duties you are assigned as their employee, you would be expected to follow. And those would go towards the on the job training hours that you are required to obtain for your apprenticeship. How long does it take to complete the core class? So currently the core classes that we have running ran from August to December. So once you have moved through core, um, the length of the upper level classes will vary. We typically like to start those in August. They are a few months long. You would be given information prior to class registration, again, so that we know that it fits into your schedule and you're just aware of any information that you may need before registering. Do we have any other questions? Jean, do you have anything that you would like to add to any of those questions?
No, I do see that we have one additional one. How many days per week? So our classes are generally 2 days per week. We run either Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday for classes. And students usually have the option to select which day works best for them. We run it like that so that students will have the time to work during the week. So that on the job training portion, the majority of our students are working about 40 hours per week. So this 2 day a week schedule gives you the chance to complete as many work hours as you feel that you can complete. And the next question was, would this start August 2023? So we are currently enrolling for the spring semester for core. So if you are a student who's interested in enrolling for the spring, I encourage you to get that interest form completed as soon as possible so that we can connect you with the career coach and reserve your seat in our core class. Those classes do tend to fill up pretty quickly. So if that's something that you're thinking about for spring, feel free to enroll. However, we will indeed have another core cohort beginning in August. Um,
Just to clarify though on that, so for the spring, those classes will begin in January. So the core classes will begin in January. Whenever you heard me mention August, those are the upper level classes. So the folks that are currently in core, they will begin their upper level classes more later in the year, for like our fall term. But if you are interested in beginning the program, you do have the option to register for classes that would start in January.
the second part to that question, I'm sorry, Marisha, were you going to
You can
say
go ahead.
something?
You can go
Okay.
ahead.
So the second part to that question, in regards to our students working during the core class, if we look at this semester as an example, our students began their core course in August, and our hiring event was in October. We actually have our last hiring event for this semester tomorrow. So students generally take the first couple of weeks during core to become familiar with the curriculum. October is when we do our fall hiring events. And if next semester is similar to semesters in the past, our spring hiring event will happen in November. So there's some time for you to adjust to core, but you do have the opportunity to meet with employer partners in October. Each employer has a their own hiring process. So the length of time between when you're hired and when you actually start working, or once you're interviewed at that hiring event, how long that takes for you to go to the job first day, that can vary by employer. Marasia, did you have anything else to add as far as um, students working during core?
No, I think you covered it for the most part.
Okay. So we have an additional question inquiring about working 4 to 5 days a week and completing classes on the fifth day. So working 4 out of 5 days a week and then completing classes on the fifth day. Um, so our apprenticeship program is not currently designed to operate with the 4 day and then the 1 day of class. Marisha, do you have any additional insight to add for that?
So I would just say that when you think of your employment or on the job training, think of this as your full-time employment. So if and when you're hired on with a employer partner, they become your employer. They are your boss, your supervisor. So thankfully with our partnership they are very understanding of the fact that you are in apprenticeship classes, but ultimately your schedule when you work, that's something that you work out with your employer. And then being that we've mentioned like with the skills trades that those classes are offered in the afternoon, um, your employer is understanding that, hey, come 6 o'clock, I got to go to class, things of that nature. We do try to cater to the fact that people are working and also taking class. So we have designed the program currently to where with the skills trades, you're working 2 days or 2 evenings out of the week. And then that gives you the option and the opportunity to work and gain those on the job training hours during other times of the day and throughout the week. Gene, I can't see the chat. So
Okay.
are there any other?
Yes, there's one more question in regards to how many students are actually hired and become registered apprentices. I'll let you take that question.
So, again, this is an opportunity for you to, or hiring events are an opportunity for you to be placed in front of our employer partners that we've partnered with throughout Wake County. We cannot guarantee jobs or employment, but that's where our career coaches come into hand. So, the career coach is going to work with you prior to the hiring event to make sure that you're prepared and you're remembering. Um, Not only what you're learning in the classroom that can be highlighted in your interview, but any prior experience that you have and how that can tie into the current position that you are applying for.
Thank you, Marasia. So we do have a few additional questions. So the hiring event for spring happens in November and the core classes start in January. So the hiring event for spring would happen in March and the core class would begin in January. I have another question. Can you please give a few examples of some employer partners? I'll let you take that one, Marisha.
So employer partners vary throughout the county. We do have an extensive list of about 60 plus employer partners. Once you're in with the program, we would definitely share information on who those employer partners are, and give you a little bit of background prior to entering into the hiring event.
And that's all we have right now, Marisha. Are there any additional questions?
So before we let you guys go, so Career and Professional Development has launched a Pathways to series. And so we have Pathways to IT and also Pathways to Healthcare. And these sessions are going to meet, let's see, in the evening virtually for about 2 hours, two times in a week. And so this gives you an opportunity to learn about different careers, understanding the job duties, education requirements, and the career outlook. And then also learning about different Wake Tech programs, both on the curriculum and continuing education side, as well as learning about funding opportunities. So there is a link that I can put in the chat. I'll put it once I clear this off my screen. Um, that will link to a flyer where you can gain more information. And it is a 2-page flyer. So make sure to look at both pages. And then there's a link that will allow you to reach out if you have any more questions or would like to gain any more information. And Jean, do you have anything that you would like to add before we end our session?
No, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for joining us this evening. We're excited that you are interested in learning more about apprenticeship, and we look forward to continuing the conversation with you. If there are any questions that you have for either of us, or if you think of anything else, once the session is done, feel free to send us an email. We would be more than happy to answer your questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. And like Jean said, reach out at any time if you have any additional questions.